So.
We'll talk about
It's quite poor. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Ian J. Cole and this is Jane.
Hi.
And this is the fourth video in a series about the, I keep getting this wrong,
Electric Spring
Festival at Huddersfield. And now the festival is on 19th to 23rd of February. It's a free festival, which is brilliant. And an awful lot of work has clearly been put into the festival.
Definitely. By
the guys at Huddersfield University. And this is the first night's concert, so this is the Wednesday night concert. The last video was about Pam Hume, that's linked down below, where we talked about her three pieces. She was, I don't want to say warm-up act, because she wasn't really warm-up act. She was just the first artist on the evening concert.
Yes. We're not absolutely hot on our pronunciations here, but we've got Lauren Redhead organ and Alistair Zaldua electronics.
Now Alistair and Lauren commissioned the pieces in this concert through Goldsmiths University, where they both work, and this first piece was written by Nina Whiteman. And it's called Escape.
Escape! Exclamation mark.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Escape! Exclamation mark. And Nina came out before the start of the piece to just give us a little bit of context, really, which I actually say I quite liked.
Oh,
that,
I did, because I like to know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we got so much more out of it.
We did, yeah. I have to say, the rest of the other four pieces, although we'd had this, and really we hadn't had a chance to read this before the actual concert, but we didn't have any context for the other four pieces, which I think hampers it to some extent when that happens. But certainly with Nina coming out and explaining what the piece was about, and it was an audio-visual piece, so Alistair was doing electronics, Lauren's playing the organ, and we had two screens, and it's like a maze, really.
I mean, Escape comes to the fact that she'd based it on the escape rooms that are all the rage, where you have a group of friends and you have to solve clues and get out. So what she'd done was that she'd provided both Alistair and Lauren with visual clues, really, so that whenever, and they were actually, we could watch Lauren watching the screen, a small screen. We had these, as Ian said, so the audience can see. And it was a series of sort of animated drawings, in the sense that when certain images or signs appeared, like a black dot or doors, they had to respond in a certain way, both the electronics and the organ. And that's how it built up. So it was quite intriguing, because I can't speak for him, but I was waiting, because eventually you realise that when certain doors appeared, they were actually photographs of doors, that you knew how Lauren was going to respond.
There was also a couple of guys in the audience with sound boxes of some description. And when A Plus came on screen, one of them had to press their box, and when A minus came on screen, another person had to. So there was some sort of audience interaction, which is the first time she said they'd done that, and that added it too, because one of the guys was sat next to you.
Yes, yeah.
So
and so it was. I found it quite entertaining. I liked the mix of the visuals and the sound. I suppose, and this says more about me than the piece, I almost thought that there was going to be a linear progression out of the escape room. But I think, like I said, that it was more about it, because I think Nina said that it was a bit like a
game.
Yes, that's right.
Like a sort of.
So and there
Dungeons and Dragons type. You didn't say that. But,
no, I don't think. No, there were arrows, and I suppose if I'd sort of taken more notice. In one sense, I'd have maybe the arrows moved.
Well, in fact, there's an image of one of them which I'll include now, actually, so you can actually see what one of the rooms looks like with the arrows.
Yeah.
So I'll include that.
But I mean it wasn't about that. It was about how the two artists responded to the prompts, and how they had to, what sounds they were going to make. That's what it was more about.
Yeah.
And so you had the series of the images on the screen. Yeah. And like I said, it was just different, really different.
I mean, this does actually add, because Nina had done some work called the House of Mazes in 2017, and this composition extends her work in that. And in fact, that piece is 25 minutes long. I'm not going to include the whole thing, but I'm going to include a couple of minutes of that so you can get some context of the type of thing. That's actually done with voice, cello and flutes. So different instrumentation, but this piece actually adds to the sort of work that Nina has been doing with mazes.
Dans les profondeurs du labyrinthe.
Un rayon de lumière tremblait. Dans les profondeurs du labyrinthe.
There is also an interview with Nina, Lauren and Alistair, which we will include at the end. So you'll be able to see about them talking at the beginning of the project about how the process that they've gone through to actually make this piece of work, which is quite fascinating really. It's about 7 minutes. Okay? Anything else?
Nope.
So thanks very much for watching. We hope you found that interesting. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm Lauren Redhead. I'm an organist and I work in a duet with Alistair Zaldua to create and perform music for organ and live electronics.
I'm Nina Whiteman and I'm a composer and a singer, and I'm really excited to be working on a new piece for Lauren Redhead and Alistair Zaldua.
Hello, my name is Alistair Zaldua. I'm a composer and I operate with live electronics and I improvise on the violin. And I'm in a duet with Lauren Redhead. I program the live electronics.
That duet itself is really important. That's because we've been able to work together specifically on the interactive relationship between the organ and electronics. We've developed a lot of strategies for those things to work well together. So it's really important that we think of the electronics performer as a duet partner and not as a technician. In that role, Alistair has contributed real performance practices to our work. We're now at a stage where, as a duet, we can work with other people in order to extend that and really to offer them ways of working with the organ electronics that are really unique.
What we use at the very basic level is a mirror system, so MIRA with MSP, a closed network from the computer that I'm using all the way up to what Lauren sees in front of her on the console of the organ. If Lauren is in control of actually starting a piece, that's a much safer way of starting the electronics. With this mirror system, I can add some visuals or some cues so that she can respond to that and wait for them to come, and then the performance can continue.
One of the things that I'm interested in looking at for this particular piece of music is how the organ and the electronics interact, and whether that can be done through use of visuals, so sending visuals from the computer to the organist perhaps, that are also tied together with electronic sounds, and that the organ player has to respond to those by making actions that could be things like pulling out stops and that kind of thing.
So the collaborative aspect of this project is particularly exciting to me. I often learn about music when I'm working with other composers and learning about their ideas and learning how to navigate their particular score and program the electronics accordingly.
The first session, we're really just looking at the organ as an instrument, and I'm learning a lot because I haven't written for the organ before ever, and I've hardly really ever had a go on one, so that's quite unusual for me. So this is really exciting from that point of view because I'm going to be learning a lot and also furthering my ideas through that new learning as well.
Nina is a composer whose music I've been interested in for really a long time. She works with instruments and with electronics in really exciting ways, and as a performer herself, her music demonstrates an understanding of what can happen in live performance and how those situations can be questioned and extended and made live and exciting for the performer. So I think that this is going to be a really interesting collaborative relationship, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she writes.
Some of my recent work has been particularly focused on how performers contribute to the creative side of the composition, and I've been looking in particular at mazes and labyrinths and exploring new notational possibilities in conjunction with what it means for a performer to be really exploring a score as though they're exploring a landscape or a maze or some kind of geographical location. In House of Mazes, I really started exploring all these things for the first time, and a lot of this notation was developed in collaboration with performers. So the score actually looks like a maze, and the performers are navigating it as well as responding to each other according to certain rules, so it's got a game-like aspect to it as well. In this piece I was looking particularly at timbres that seemed unstable or had a kind of lost feeling to them, and that was important to me to tie the sound world of the piece into the thinking to do with mazes and labyrinths as well.
What are your thoughts about the length of the piece, about the duration that it takes for the listener to be able to understand that this is actually what's taking place?
There's two things there that you're asking about. One is about duration, and one is about the listeners having some sort of appreciation of what's actually happening sonically and what the performers are experiencing. One of the things that I've been performed this year for the first time is a piece called Tomb, which is for flutes, video and electronics. And the video for that was filmed underground in a mine, and the score for it is based on the layout of that mine. So the flute player kind of navigates these spaces which the audience can then see projected. That piece has a really flexible duration, so it could be like 8 minutes, or it could be maybe even 4 hours. The longer you're lost, the worse it is normally. So if the audience are to grasp that, then perhaps a long duration is going to be appropriate. But I think without the aid of the visuals, conveying that idea to the audience is actually one of my main questions, and I'm looking forward to exploring these sorts of ideas with you and with Lauren.
So the idea of music that can have different durations is really interesting, and I've played a few pieces where there can be a sort of concert version that might be 10 or 12 minutes, and then a longer installation version which can be 45 minutes, more than an hour, more than 2 hours. So I find that really fascinating, that something could be kind of stretched in time or experienced in different ways, and that would be really exciting to explore in this project. So like the F to the B, so where they're in groups.
Just think about them. So
the Vox Humana project is a project where we're hoping to commission and collaborate with composers who are based internationally, and in particular we're looking to work with people who are interested in the interactive element of the duet between live electronics and the organ, who can help us question and develop and extend what we can do to create music that is new, interesting, exciting, and to help me to expand my repertoire that has been written by women, and hopefully to make my concert programmes more exciting, more diverse, and to push the boundaries of what's possible.